love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to
What's
look
up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, joined, as always,
by Toby Toes.
I made you say the bye that time. I threw you off a little bit there.
You did. We can edit out the pause where I wasn't sure what to do.
Yeah, it'll be podcast magic. I certainly didn't screw up at all. We are here once again, another episode of the Kamen Riders. Toby and I are back on our bikes that turn into weird dogs, and we're riding off to episode 3, discussion of episode 3 of Kamen Rider Geats today. Toby, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Pretty good. And I want to point out real quick before we get started here that, as I said every week, I'm going to try to come up with a better name for the show.
Right.
We should have called ourselves Common Sense because we're making sense out of the show.
Toby, I thought you said better. You clearly told me a better name for the show.
I did.
I'm very.
I have like
let down
30 more
by this.
episodes to shop this around.
Well, at least listen. At least you're starting from the bottom. Now we're here.
There's only one way to go.
I'm excited for the very gradual climb as we continue on. Yeah, the bar has been set, and we'll see where it goes from there.
As of right now, I can pretty much roll over it, but maybe next week I'll have to step.
Yeah, at this point, if it was limbo, we would be out. There'd be no way underneath, I think. What people say, like, oh, I set the bar. Are they talking about high jump? What sport are we referencing?
That would be either a high jump or pole jump, yes.
Okay. Because I kind of broke my brain right then talking about limbo. Because if you set the bar and you're doing limbo, you want to set it like lower and lower, right? It's like reverse.
We're common in limbo. I got the bar all the way at the bottom.
God damn. All right. Let's talk about Kamen Rider Geats. I think Kawa starts this episode feeling just like I am right now, which is completely
so proud
distraught.
of his friends.
just extremely happy to probably be being killed soon.
If I lose, it's no big deal because it gets me out of this shit.
I won't have to hear any more names. I mean, Kawa does almost get killed at the very beginning of this episode. We'll jump right in. Kawa's like recording what can only be described as like a last will and testament. I don't know. He's giving some info about the Grand Prix, talking about, hey, it just started. We're all Kamen Riders. And then suddenly Tsuyumi, or whatever her name is, the kind of arbiter of the Grand Prix, like shows up in his room and tells him that the penalty for telling anyone about the Grand Prix is death.
Instant termination.
Yeah, and she shows him the rules in the fine print where it says he's going to be killed. So he very quickly says, I was just keeping a record for myself. It's just for me.
Just look.
I love how, like, the episode opens. I love how close he comes to just getting murdered. Like, if he hadn't said it's for me, if he said, like, oh, I'm live right now, would she have just killed him? Just dead? He's just gone.
I would assume so.
Good. I like it.
Because even if you kill him in the game, like, she doesn't have to kill him, like, as a person, as a Grand Prix gamer. Just kill him that way.
A GPG, Grand Prix.
GPG.
She really picked some people who were very prime for telling the world about the Desire Grand Prix. Like, Kawa, probably not. He's kind of a loser. But, like, Neon, we find out later, has like 10 million subscribers, and she gets like a zillion views every time she goes live. Like, that girl's gonna drop some info about this like secret Kamen Rider tournament she's involved in, right?
You would assume so. And like, it's funny that like the streamer wasn't the one that got busted for trying to stream.
No,
like that would be like the more obvious like way to do this, but instead they go for the little nerdy kid who's just live blogging to himself.
I expected Kayla to be like holding up today's newspaper in the beginning of this, like proving it's real. I really wanted more context for like what is that for? Like, is he trying to leave a record for if he loses his memories, like when the world resets or something?
I would guess so, because like
Yeah,
obviously you can't share it, or if he thought he could share it, obviously he can't now.
yeah,
The only obvious answer would be his sister would be like, "Hey, I want to show her when I'm done," but it doesn't seem like that's the way it works. But even like in part of like in the beginning part and throughout most of this episode, it does this weird thing where like I feel like it jumps back and forth between they're on like
yeah,
Grand Prix Island and
yeah.
just normal life back and forth way too fast. And it was hard for me to keep track at first of like who was where and when this was going on.
Yeah, same. There was one specific moment that really confused me, and I had to actually like back up and watch a little bit of it again, where they're talking about Neon and sort of like her kind of backstory about her family's rich, but they're really strict. And they cut back to Kawa and his sister, like he's like cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, is this like after the current game? Like, is he back home again? And I don't think so. I think it's his sister just like droning on about Neon like from his past. I think, but it was very confusing. Yeah, I totally agree. And that happened a couple times here. I'm just like, yeah, when are we seeing these things? When are they in the real world? When are they in the game? Because like as of right now, they've only gone back to the real world like one time and then got called back for round 2 of the game, basically.
Yes, like I can only assume that like the flashbacks are still current, like they're mid round, and they're all just keeping the secret.
Oh, you think so? Maybe.
Well, so like this might be spoilers to the end, but I feel like when they're in the classroom and talking about how great Neon is, and we're getting the vibe of like, hey, she has all these friends, all this cool stuff's going on.
Yeah.
The other rider is there, and he looks pissed,
Yeah.
and then he looks in his bag and sees his Desire driver. So if he saw it and he was mad about her, was he mad about her before the game started, or was he mad about her now that she's in the game?
Well, I think so. Yeah, we get some of his backstory later on, and I think the like it kind of felt like the insinuation. Like there's like a brief moment where he's watching her live stream. So I think maybe he just kind of hates the world, and then especially hates her because he's in class with her.
Those type of people.
Yeah, yeah. That's also a weird one too. So yeah, we're going to talk more about that at the time, but like they're in class together, but she doesn't act like she recognizes him at all. Like they sit like 2 desks away from each other in class.
Is it one of those weird things where it's like, oh, she's the cool girl, she would never notice me. I'm gonna sit and sulk in the corner and steal.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. Anywho, back to Kawa. We find out this is a point that I found very interesting. Kawa once again is harping on this whole like bad people die and I can bring them back. And, oh yeah. And then of course, yes, you can. But then he goes, this is a great question. I appreciated this, Kawa. He says, but where did the body go? If we could bring them back, they should have a body. And the answer was that only the Giamato know. So then how do we bring them back?
Well, not even that. It's like a weird trust exercise then.
Certainly
like,
is.
So they just assume that they're keeping the bodies safe somewhere. And then it's like, oh yeah, when the game's over, they dump them back, I think. I'm pretty sure.
They bring them back. They definitely haven't done anything weird with them. It's not like you have like extra eyes or a second butthole. You're good. Like it's fine. Yeah, I that was a little bit again, as we talked about last episode, like it's very the dynamic between the Desire Grand Prix and the Giamoto forces is very strange. I'm not quite sure what's going on there yet. We move on. We get a little taste of kind of everybody here in the intro. So that's kind of like Kawa's little intro, or at least kind of the main people we care about. Next up, we see Neon. We find out that her mother definitely doesn't approve of her live streaming and her videos, but she does have like 10 million subscribers, she mentions. And her mom tells her, you were born for more than this. I don't really know what, because we don't really know too much about what the family does, but the mother greatly disapproves of the influencer lifestyle.
So, and that seems like the normal conversation that I would assume parents would have with kids at this point.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, nothing we've ever done in general, like all of our dumb podcasts and shows and stuff, we're ever enough that we had ever had to have like a conversation with our family, each other, friends of like, hey, I'm going to stop doing any sort of real work. I'm just going to do this internet thing.
That's true. We very much have had to keep our real jobs.
But like, so that just seems like a weird conversation. Like at some point, I know in like when we were kids, parents would say like, you'll never do anything, just playing video games all day. So then the whole streaming thing made that a reality, which is always a weird thing for, I'm sure, like our age to our parents being like, what, people get paid playing video games now. So it just seems really the conversation now is like hardcore. No, you literally can't become anything if you want to be a streamer. Like as a kid, for us, it was a joke. As a kid now, it's like, no, but you're actively seeing people doing it. So it's diametrically different at this point.
When we were kids, like the only like avenue that you really knew of that led you to like playing games for a living was like becoming a video game tester. And
Right.
like I feel like even as kids we knew that wasn't actually as glamorous as it maybe sounds. Like it was going to be a way tougher of a job, and like obviously you didn't have fans or anything from that. But yeah, now you have a goal. Like you see these people doing it, and I get, yeah, like as a parent, obviously you're gonna be skeptical about someone deciding to not do anything else with their life but to head down that, you know, influencer streamer route. But Neon has 10 million subs. Like clearly she's probably making a lot of money doing this.
Yeah, she's definitely past that bar of like, hey, this actually could be a job, and it's not just hey, I have 500 subscribers and getting 2 views a day on YouTube. I'm done working.
All these bots really love me. They're here. They show up every episode. So yeah, I would think that the mom at this point, like it's clearly just like it's beneath you type thing. It's not like you need to get a real job. It's, you know, it's not becoming of this family is more the vibe. Ace has an interesting opening segment here. So this happens pretty quick, but he's standing on a roof. He's flipping his coin as he always does because he's the broody Batman of the series. He's watching a video of himself, right? Because he's the superstar mega hero of the world, and it's like the big like Ace is a teen idol. He's watching it and he says, "I'm right here. Even if you have no idea, I will find you." What's he talking about? It's like he's talking to himself.
He's becoming more and more of the nice boy we always thought he was.
He is, yeah. Oh, this episode really turns a corner where, yeah, he's a good guy through and through. Kawa, in a very fast scene, goes and talks to that Tewa guy, the interviewer guy's place of employment, I guess, to just like confirm that he's really dead and he didn't show back up to work. And yeah, that's true. He's dead. I want to know more of how that conversation went down. Some random boy shows up and it's like, so there's a guy that works here. Is he like not around anymore? And then the guy's like, yeah, it's weird. He hasn't come into work for a couple days. And KY's just like, cool. Okay, well, I'm leaving.
If he was older, it'd be a little creepier, and you'll definitely put him on the list of like, this is the one person that we should definitely watch and monitor because he definitely killed this guy.
I mean, even now, like, it didn't sound like they really knew the guy was dead for sure. And some random kid just shows up and is asking questions. Yeah, that's gonna put him on some people's radars, I think. I hope we revisit that, but I don't think that we will. And then we switch back to Neon again. Neon is now streaming, and we find out that she is 0 for 49 in her runaway attempts, and she's starting up attempt number 50. I'm not sure if you caught any of the chat that was going on her screen. Someone had typed poggers, so that's
I'm offended by that immediately.
The super dumb thing I found with this whole thing, so she does this like dance intro. She puts her phone down, she steps back, and she kind of does a dance intro for her video, but then it has different camera angles, but she very clearly only had the one camera and it was her phone.
I didn't even think about that.
It upset me a lot.
I was excited that it was basically like a Nightcore song.
It was.
It was a super throwback to the dumbest thing ever that I love. So I got all excited about that.
Nightcore. If you're not familiar with Nightcore, can you tell the people what Nightcore is?
So all I think Nightcore really is people turn up not the speed of a song, but the tempo of a song. So like it doesn't just make like the song play faster, it cranks like it up like an octave and a half and makes it go faster as well as sounds higher pitched and like if you had like a record.
Yeah.
If you're old like us and you have a record and you span the record a little bit faster, it's like that.
Yeah, and then it sounds like if AFI did like J-pop songs, but they were also on speed at the time.
Or it's like the Chipmunks. It's like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Chipmunks sing any song possible.
but you're right. Like both pitch increases of the song, like the octave goes up, and the tempo too, like both. So it's like it's just like super super fast, super super high pitched. And for some reason, which I haven't fully grasped yet, why they're always paired with anime women. Like when you
Yes.
watch a Nightcore video, it's always like an anime 12-year-old with like black angel wings for some reason or something like that. Like it's always that. Because that's just the aesthetic of Nightcore for some reason. Toby and I fell into Nightcore years ago for a while, and yeah, I just stumble upon it once in a while here and there throughout the years, and continue to think like this is way better than it has any right to be.
Exactly.
But yeah, her song is very Nightcore reminiscent. But then we get interrupted. Ace walks up. We have a collab as
The hottest collab since you and I.
Tag yourself, I'm Neon.
That's fine, I guess.
I feel like Ace is a bit out of character here, but it kind of sets up that he has like a little bit of an affection for Neon, kind of. So he meets her, he kind of says like, "What are you doing?" And then they go get drinks together. He asks her like, "So you're live streaming your entire life?" She calls it a non-fiction story that she's putting together, and her reasoning for why she's live streaming is that she wants her soulmate to know that she's out there.
She's out there, all right.
I just feel like that's such an out of left field reason for why she's trying to run away from home and stream. Like, also like weird, like she doesn't want to do it to just like be popular, or she doesn't want to do it to like be successful. Like it has to be around a soulmate. It feels very old fashioned too.
You have to make her as girly as possible.
Yeah, it feels like she's kind of tough, right? Like she's taken this whole becoming a Kamen Rider thing in stride, really. Like she's back home, she's still, doing her live streaming. Like she's doing great. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer she has to be like a traditional girly girl looking out for a man, kind of a thing. But
so in their cafe conversation, had one of my two favorite conversations so far, or interactions between two people. They're talking about the streaming thing, and like the two bodyguards come, the greatest tag team of all time.
Yep, they're my favorite.
So Neon goes, "They keep finding me," and Ace goes, "Because you keep streaming it." And she just looks at him and smirks, and he just goes, "True," and just drops it.
Yeah, that little interaction, I feel like is the moment they became friends. It's really great. Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, you got me."
Fair.
I think that's the thing I love about Neon too, is she's ridiculous, but like it's still a little grounded in that, like that kind of a thing. I was like, yeah, okay, you're right. It is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, like at that point, you definitely know too. Like as we go forward, like the characters all have more depth than it seems. Like she obviously knows what she's doing. Like she's not just like airheaded, like, "Oh, I'm streaming, haha, come find me." Like she actively knows like what's going on, what she's trying to do with herself, and
yeah,
she has a plan.
Yeah, it's not like she's actually trying to run away from home. She knows it's not going to work because that's not her goal. She doesn't say my goal is to run away from home, right? So yeah, she's got a little bit more in depth to her.
Maybe she wants someone like Ace to come find her.
Oh, he's the soulmate, you think? Well, once she finds out what he's really about, that he pays for kids' surgeries.
No, so well, I had a guess of who it was later. So we'll get to it then.
Oh, okay.
But maybe that's what she wanted. So like she does the live stream like, oh, I'm running away, and maybe she wants some guy to find her while
And
she's
someone's
live
gonna come.
streaming and
Yeah.
come save her.
Oh,
And
maybe.
today it was just our boy Geats.
Geats shows up. I'm here. I stumbled into your video while you were dancing and singing. You touched on the bodyguard showing up. I continue to love them. This scene is their best scene yet, where they come to collect Neon, obviously, but then they fanboy hard about Ace, and they beg for his autograph. And then there's this great little scene where they like are kind of so excited they're like dancing. they're like
They like dance and warp around and
yeah, they're like vibrating. They're so excited. I also really loved, so in this moment, like they get a text about the Grand Prix is starting. Neon runs off. Ace sits there for a second. He signs the autographs. The bodyguards do their little dance and stuff. Like time passes. Then Ace runs out of the cafe and instantly catches up to Neon and passes her. Like she clearly was not making good time.
yeah, I mean it's like it pretty much seems like she walked out when they were distracted by Ace's coolness.
Yeah.
But like the clips they show is like he finished his drink, he signed another autograph, he like stretched and relaxed, and then they fast forward to time. So like it's
Yeah.
definitely like minutes. It's not like seconds. It's definitely like minutes long.
Yeah, she then he catches up instantly and she's like dragging her bag behind her still. It's no wonder she's 0 for 49. That's all I'm saying. We make it into the Desire Grand Prix once again. Find out this time that the round is a zombie survival game. So it's still the Giamoto, it's just they're zombies this time.
And they come in waves like a tower defense game as well.
Yep. Yeah, the explanation is that they're the data shows is what the explanation was. Like past data from I guess previous attacks shows that they're going to come in 3 waves, exactly like a tower defense. If they get into the city and get to people, they can bite them. Those people become infected. And there's a scoring system for this round, a very complicated scoring system. They pop it up on the screen for a second, and like every possible, interaction, like a headshot, perfect kill, anything has like a different point value associated with it.
Let's wait real quick. So the 2 scores that I wrote down that we need to discuss. The first one, tag team finishers are a bonus 1,000 points.
That's a lot of points.
Is that to lean into any sort of wrestling thing whatsoever?
You think there's going to be like a wrestling sub theme?
I don't know. Like if you do like the Doomsday device and like clothesline someone off someone else's shoulders and get a kill, like is that like considered a tag team finisher?
Probably. I think a tag team finisher is anytime like 2 people are just working together to kill one zombie. Like,
but there's also a thing for assists.
Oh, okay. So maybe it has to be like Ghostbusters style, like cross the streams. We both combined our powers together to make a greater power, like that sort of a deal.
Yeah, something like it has to be something along those lines, but it's hard to tell. The other one, this is the most important one. There's one that just says BM minus 800 points. Is that saying if you poop yourself and make a movement, you lose points?
I mean, it's funny because it's BM, but like that's an online game thing, like bad manners BM. Like that's like a.
But they have griefing on here.
Griefing's a separate one.
Yeah, so the 4 negatives are BM, out of bounds, friendly fire, and griefing.
I would say that like BM and griefing are different things. Like a BM is maybe like griefing is more, I guess, like premeditated kind of, or maybe like a BM is like I shove you as I walk by you or something because I'm angry.
Okay,
I don't know. That's how I'm gonna split those in my head.
Okay, that's fine. Those are the 2 that jumped out to me.
And then you said friendly fire, and what was the other one?
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds. Okay, they haven't even touched on that yet. That you can go out of bounds. I want someone to get in the world and then just try to run away. Just like screw this game, I'm out. That has not happened thus far. But we've talked about as we've gone on here how just pure video game this is, and this was the episode where that you just really get hit over the head with that, like kind of in a really fun way. Like this scoring system is amazing, like so video game. The fact that it's a wave based, like it's a zombie survival mode, like everything about this is pure video game, not even pretending like it's not.
Yeah, like pretty much any word they could think of that ties to gaming, they threw as many in as rapid fire as possible.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
absolutely. Yeah, especially if they're getting into like, like BM and stuff like that. Kind of like, not like the most popular like gamer air quote terms, but like very, associated with the gamer lifestyle. I feel gross saying gamer lifestyle, but I don't know what else to call it. I do wonder. So obviously this is translated from Japanese. I do wonder like how you translate BM. Like I wonder if it's a different term for that in Japanese, or if that's just sort of like the closest they could come up with. And I wonder if the term in Japanese was as like gamery as BM is for us. Like, and I guess like in a similar vein, like poggers that was in the chat. Like, was it literally just poggers but in Japanese, or is it like they took something that was kind of similar and they picked something that is equivalent but not necessarily the same thing?
I would assume it's probably as close as possible. Like I know people are usually pretty good about, at least like good subtitle people, which will assume this little chart counts as subtitles. Like I'm sure they knew what they were doing or really got as close as possible. Or even if it was like literally like bad manners, or if it was like inappropriate teamwork or
Yeah,
anything like that. Like I'm sure it's as close as they could get.
I just find this stuff really interesting sometimes because yeah, like sometimes in translating things, there's like so much like cultural context that's required like to understand something that a direct translation doesn't make sense. And yeah, that's always interesting to like to read about people who do that kind of work, and like the weird complications that you'd never dream actually arise. But here, things that are arising are zombies. We find out if you get bitten, you become a zombie, which is less than ideal, I guess. Uh, Obviously the bravado is strong. Geats and Buffa. I still haven't decided exactly how to say his name. Make a bet where Geats says, "Hey, if I get a higher score at the end of this round, I get your buckle." Buffa says, "Okay, fine. If I win, though, I get all of your buckles," which is just the water gun and the shield. So it still doesn't really seem like that fair of a bet. But they whipped him out. And the bet is made.
They were ready to go.
They are ready to go. We do get a little bit like more about Buffa, I think, in this episode a little bit. Like he's like the tough, gruff guy, but like you sort of find out not he's not irredeemable, I guess, which we'll touch on.
They are all irredeemable. Just as a general statement.
Everyone sucks. Uh, they all get ported down. Everyone henshins. I found it interesting. I don't remember when this happened, but Keiwa is using the green like arrow buckle, which is I'm pretty sure the one that Tewa had, the guy that died in the last episode. So I didn't remember when Keiwa like obtained it. Did he like take it off his dead body, or like as he evaporated? He must have grabbed it.
I think he handed it to him when he was dying.
Okay.
He was trying to motivate him to like, you need to go do something. Like you can't just do nothing during this game.
Get off your ass and go shoot someone with this arrow. That could be. I'll have to go back and watch the second episode again and remember when that happened. Because yeah, I was surprised that he had that. Because when they started transforming, I was like, wait, what does Keiwa even have right now? But no, he had the green arrow. So it's kind of cool. Everybody like there are some mixed up colors from kind of what we were seeing before a little bit, which is cool. You get to see like the slightly different modifications of the suits. And continuing for me, I think that Buffa with his chainsword is the coolest look. Like he transforms and then he kick starts his chainsword. Like he just kicks it to start it spinning. Sparks go everywhere. He's easily the coolest design for me, and just the chainsword in general, I think I really like. We get to see more of it later, but that's very cool.
I'm scrolling around the last episode while we're talking about this. So after the guy dies and uh, Ace, whatever we want to call him, he gives him the speech about like, I'm doing this to save children of the future.
Yeah.
Uh, when he's basically like watching the guy die, he sets the arrow buckle next to the picture of the family,
Hmm.
and then Kayla picks it all up together.
Oh, okay.
So he like, I mean, it's like a real quick shot of it, but he's definitely like, when he realizes like, I need to fight for what I want out of this, he picks up everything at the same time.
So Kwan did kind of like loot the corpse, basically.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I'm gonna take this.
like Fortnite, like any good battle royale game, you loot the corpses and get all the good stuff.
Speaking of a good battle royal game, Kwa, of course, is not super into killing zombies. He rescues some civilians. He sees some people, tells them they have to leave, and then he pops a secret mission that he has cleared, which is to save 3 civilians. And then he literally gets a loot drop directly on his head. So video game. And he obtains the boost buckle once again. So again, he falls ass first into the boost buckle somehow. He's really lucking out, I feel like, so far on that.
He has fantastic plot armor.
He really does. Truly does. I love that he's gotten that twice and thus far hasn't used it once yet.
And like, it was even better because his statement when he got it was like, I think his literal wording was, "Hey, it's that thing from last time."
Yeah.
That's all he knows about it. It's that thing from last time.
it's the good one again. Cool. We cut over and we see the panda bear. So the panda bear is up on a rooftop sniping, which I feel like is a great approach to zombie survival waves. Like, he really has a good idea here. Neon struggling to kill any zombies, and she kind of asks the panda for help, and he just refuses. He's like, "Why would I help you? Come on."
And it's because he keeps saying we're rivals.
Yeah,
His specific reason is he keeps saying, "Why would I help a rival rider?"
exactly. He seems to like, he calls her a rival. Obviously, you think it's just because they're competing here, but yeah, I think maybe later you find out, as we were mentioning them in the classroom together, like maybe it's because he also had a grudge against her in general. So like maybe there's sort of a bit of an extra reason that he hated her specifically.
Yeah.
Neon about to get just murked by some zombies, and her knight in shining armor, Ace, shows up to save her. He gives her a little tip, says that she's got to aim for the head. That's the zombie's weak point.
Oh, and then she goes, "Oh, that makes sense." And then I think she was hitting with the hammer in the head before that point, but afterwards, then it started working. We'll call it.
Yeah, kind of. Like, she has like a giant pink like bopper hammer, like one of the ones that you would get at the fair that blow up, and then when you hit things it squeaks. That's basically what she has for a weapon. So I don't know that it does much damage in general, even if she's aiming for the head, but she's swinging away nonetheless. I don't think, based on the scores we see later, I don't know that she actually like gets any kills or not.
So, only because you mentioned that. So, in this one specifically, they keep cutting to views inside their helmets that shows like their hit points and their score and everything. When Ace is giving her the speech about what to do with the zombies, I managed to find the one on the screen. It says successful tag team with Geats plus 1,000 points. Successful takedown plus 1,000 points.
Oh, so she got the tag team award for that.
So I think it's just from them hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if you're actively just standing together, I think it's considered a tag team. But somehow she was getting kills in there when it didn't look like she was doing anything.
Okay, well, she had a confirmed kill then. We found the screenshot. I'm sorry that I besmirched her and her zombie killing abilities.
Yeah, she's gonna be very upset about that. If I've learned nothing, that she'll be very upset that maybe you're not her soulmate.
I might not be.
That's really what it comes down to.
You know what? I can live with that. If they formed a tag team there, Geats breaks the tag team up very quickly later because we move to an inside fight, and Neon is literally running in circles being chased by zombies.
Yeah, I wrote down it started getting super slapsticky. Like,
yes.
It was almost like cartoon style where she was running in circles and there was like 3 monsters, and then they run a little bit faster and suddenly there's 5 and they're going faster. and it turns into like a hurricane of blur of people running around in a circle.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just like the spin really, really fast, and it looks like the Tasmanian Devil or something.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that like Kamen Rider never gets into that type of thing, because they do. Obviously, we saw it here, but and people are probably gonna yell at us in the comments for this. That's, I feel like, more of a Sentai thing. I think everyone hopefully would agree with that. The like, like, oh, I'm in a fight, but like it's also goofy. Definitely comes up way more in Super Sentai, and then in turn, like we see it in Power Rangers and stuff too sometimes. But yeah, like that specific moment of running around in circles until it's a blur felt very out of place in a Kamen Rider show, and felt like it was plucked exactly from Super Sentai. But the next moment was very cool. Geats jams his water gun through a door, turns it on, continues to fight a little bit, fills up the next door room with water, and basically waits for it to kind of get to a high point, pulls the gun out, the water bursts through the doors, and he creates this like huge kind of tidal wave into the room, kills all the zombies, and floats Neon up in the air too. So he was helping her out. He gave her some tips on how to fight, but he did also almost drown her. So I don't know what their tag team status is after that.
They're on shaky grounds.
I think so. I thought the water thing was really cool, though. I thought that looked really neat.
It looked cool. I feel like it goes against how they showed the water gun worked the last time.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Because last time the water gun didn't work when there wasn't a water source and didn't do anything. And this time he jams it in a wall and it fills up a room with water.
Yeah, if it could spray that much that fast, then it would have been able to like knock out some zombies just from pulling the trigger. But whatever.
I also want to point out that since he flooded Neon out of the room, and Neon's costume is like a cat, would you say that she was a WAP? I've been waiting for like 20 minutes to make that joke to you.
just sitting on it shaking. Yeah, I think she was a wet ass pussycat for sure.
Oh man.
Oh god.
The bar just dropped lower somehow.
Oh, I think we got our title for the episode. She was also at the end, she was like sitting there, like when you see like a cat that gets soaked and it just looks like angry and sad. And she was kind of sitting like that. I'm just like, oh my god, warn me next time. Which I thought was pretty good. Freaking WAP. I loved in this, so briefly before the big wave happens, we see like the enemies spawning, like they all pile out of lockers, which I found pretty funny. Like they were just like in the lockers, or like spawned inside the lockers, and then all they shoot out the doors, which again felt very video game.
Yeah, they can hide how they cheat and just warp them into the world. They just hide them behind the easiest thing possible.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a monster closet. Gates' big wave finishes the round. So round one over. We head back to the lounge to wait for the second round. We get a little interaction between Geats and Buffa. So Geats steals the zombie buckle from Buffa, like just pickpockets him basically, and says, "Hey, like you lost, I win this from you." And he says, "If you want it back, use the water one to best me," and kind of tosses over the water gun. I feel like Geats has given up his best tool here.
Yeah.
I mean,
he has like 20 confirmed kills with this now, and he's like, hey, this weapon kind of sucks, but I'm good with it, but who cares? Here, have it anyway.
Right, like he finished like the big bad guy from episode 1, right? Or 2. And then in this episode, he uses it to create a tidal wave to kill like who knows how many, like 20 something, like you said. Like he's really doing great, and he gives up his thing for like what, a chain sword? What are we gonna do with a chain sword? We need a squirt gun. Come on, Geats. Let's dance with what brung you, This is the next part is hilarious to me. So Neon,
for many reasons.
There's a lot going on. The one part about this that is great for me, Neon is despondent because she finds out that she's in last place, and she's like, but like last place, I'm gonna get eliminated, like I'm gonna get killed. She rushes up to the butler and she's like, can I buy anything? Like, I need to buy something. Like, clearly she wants to make it a pay to win game. And she finds out she can only spend money on cosmetics, essentially. She can buy new outfits and stuff.
And then we get the classic like dress up fashion scene
Yep.
montage, like from any good movie, where she presses the button. It does a pretty good CG like warp of her switching her outfit, and she just gets more and more excited with everyone.
She does, yeah. So I loved the juxtaposition where she is like worried she's going to die and will do anything to get out of it, to like, ooh, new outfits. She instantly forgets about all of the danger and is so excited about these virtual clothes that she can buy and wear during these battles to the death. I feel like that sums up Neon as a character more than anything.
And during the fashion show was my other second favorite Neon interaction of the week. She's talking to Buffa, and he gets real pissed about how laid back and why are you just clothes shopping? Like, what the fuck are you even doing here?
Yeah.
So he goes, why are you even playing this? And she gets this big smirk on her face, and in like the most sing-songy, sarcastic answer attitude, she like dances away from him, answering his question, and goes, because I want something I can't buy.
I like how you pointed out this is your favorite neon interaction of the week. We might have to come back to those. Yeah, that was actually, so before she does the dress up, the moment where she goes from like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, to like, I don't have a care in the world, is when she does the little sing-songy dance after he's like, why would you join this game? And she's like, I want to find my soulmate. She says she wants a prince who can come pick her up on a white horse. and he's like, you would like join this game just because love? And she's like, well, love is a lifelong matter, don't you think? I really like the guy. I don't know his name, but he plays like, he's like the Mary guy, like the pink Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
And he's like doing poses with her as she's talking about her soulmate. and when she says love is a lifelong matter, he does like kind of jazz hands sort of. He's fantastic. We don't know much about him yet as far as the character goes, but he like, his like nonchalance when he comes back to the lounge is great. He's like always snacking on something or just like listening to the fights that are happening, and he doesn't care what's going on. I hope that guy lasts forever. He's fantastic. um, we get a little bit more of emo Buffa, where he says he tells the Panda Bear, I believe, all Kamen Riders are my enemy. Because the Panda Bear comes out and tries to form an alliance essentially with Buffa. He says, you got a problem with Geats? Like, hey, like I can
We'll show him what's up.
Exactly. I can help you out. Let's team up. And the panda offers his buckle to Buffa. Like, hey, I can give you this. Buffa turns it down. Of course, says all Kamen Riders are my enemy. Then we get a little bit of like very forced in backstory for Neon. So this is where we find out that her family is strict and she can't hang out with friends or go on dates. And I believe Keiwa tells her like, don't give up. Your dream will come true someday.
And that's what switched it from me thinking her and Ace were going to be the romance to, I feel like it's going to obviously be Neon and our nerdy little friend here.
Yeah. If we're applying teen drama logic to it, she will think that Ace is her soulmate. She will chase after him until the third act, where she realizes that Keiwa was the soulmate all along, and he's been right under her nose this entire time.
He was always there.
He'll take off his glasses and his hair will fall, and she'll suddenly be enamored. It was interesting kind of after she gives this whole talk sort of about like her soulmate and stuff. Geats like hasn't cared about much up to this point and has been like very nonchalant / passive aggressive, but like he's like asking her questions. He's like, oh, so that's really what you're looking for? Tell me more.
What are you looking for in this soulmate?
Yeah, like you really like, he's trying hard here. He's angling. Very quickly after this, our second wave begins. Neon's still kind of struggling. She's still not doing too well, but the panda shows up and says, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry about what happened before. Let's work together. I'm actually a big fan of yours. Let's farm some points together." We also get a fun interaction with Buffa and Geats. Buffa says, "I can't believe you made such a dumb world," which might be my quote of the week for this particular one. Then we get the moment that is quintessential Geats for me. So Geats has taken the zombie buckle, right? He knows he has it from Buffa. And we've seen Geats do this a couple times. He just takes his sweet ass time to transform. Like, he just lets things go on around him. He's like, yeah, I'll get there in due time. He wants it to be a big show, right? When he actually does the transformation, he doesn't want other people transforming around him. No. He's going to be the star.
He's going to be the standout.
Exactly. Here comes the highlight. Zombie Geats finally transforms. And I thought that Buffa looked cool as the zombie. I think Zombie Geats is awesome looking. I'm very here for it. He's got like the weird long fingers. He's got the chainsaw, of course. I'm definitely a mark for the chainsaw. We come back to Neon and the Panda Bear, and we get maybe my second favorite line of the episode, where Neon says, "Let's get this bread." I don't know if you caught that one.
I did. That was a good one.
Let's get this bread. And then immediately after she says, "Let's get this bread," the panda turns around and shoots her in the back.
And throws her into the emptied out pool full of zombies.
Yep. We get a little notification that says the score has been lowered, and the panda bear just like verbally unloads on Neon. He tells her that people don't exist just for her to use, and he suggests that she becomes a super influencer zombie.
That's the ones I wrote down too. That's like the best burn.
Why don't you become a super influencer zombie? He gets her in his sights again. He's ready to like go for the kill, I think. He pulls the trigger. Geats finally runs in, makes the save. So Geats has been all over saving Neon this episode. Like, again, knight in shining armor. He's landed on a little thick, I think.
He's working some angles today.
He certainly is. He's putting in the time. He says a line that I don't think is that clever, but like they play it like it's the most genius thing that's ever been said. He says, "Eye for an eye, zombie for a zombie." I was like, okay, I guess. I don't really. Yeah, there were zombies here. I don't really get the reference. Again, we get some crazy chainsword effects. I can't not write down when the chainsword does something cool. Geats melts zombies, like he turns them into ash essentially with the chainsword, which is so cool.
Poison charge does a weird like flaming wave of destruction. It looks like.
Yeah, very into the chainsword. The panda attempts to shoot at Geats. Geats kind of jumps away. There's like a hole in the wall. Geats runs down this hallway, kind of getting shot at along the way, and he jumps out a window. So then we go to a sequence basically where Geats is attempting to fight zombies, and the panda basically sets up on the roof, ready to snipe him. And then a really cool thing happens. So we've talked about it before. They're able to kind of spin their buckle, and then that does this revolve move where they kind of rotate their whole bodies and kind of turn inside out, and what was like on their arms becomes their legs essentially. So Geats sees that he's about to get shot. He rotates his buckle and does revolve, and revolves himself out of the path of the bullet. So cool. Like he used a transformation to keep from getting shot. Like I've never seen that before. That's really neat. He also right after this blocks a shot with a zombie. He throws a zombie into the path of the bullet that he's about to get sniped with. So some very cool like avoiding being killed moments there. And that for me was probably the coolest fight, I think, of the episode.
Yeah, that one was definitely solid. Like Geats is definitely like, I think all of it, like the ability to dodge all of the shots and the revolve out of the way and the late transformations. Like it's almost like he's so much better than all of them at this game. Where like that's why he just does these things. Like he at least wants to
Yeah.
add some challenge to it. Like especially like the late transformations. Like I'll let everyone fight for a little bit first, and then I'm gonna start because I'm gonna give you a handicap because I'm that much better than you. That it doesn't matter when I start, I will be okay.
Exactly. He's showing off, right? Yeah, like that's 100% what's happening. He's like, he could have jumped out of the way of that bullet, but he decided to do the revolve to get out of the way instead. In the very first episode, we see he's like hanging out in the lounge, hasn't even left to go join the battle yet. And it's the giant end battle. There's only 3 Kamen Riders left, like the big castle showing up. So yeah, he's giving himself a handicap, and he's just stunting on him, basically. Is what he's doing. We let's see. We get a cool like zombie jump kick, where as he's doing kind of this zombie strike kick, headstones appear around his target, which is a cool effect for the zombie buckle.
So before we get too far past it, so when Neon was getting shot at, it kept saying like, "You're losing points. Don't attack other participants."
Yep.
If you defend yourself, do you think you lose points? Like, I don't think you should, and they don't really address it. But
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
and we kind of find out that like, so we find out later that it didn't matter, right? Because the person they were defending against, spoiler alert, got bit, was becoming a zombie. So I think it seems like if you defend yourself, you would lose points, because so the very next thing that happens, they kind of fight to where Buffa is at, and obviously at this point, Geats kind of has the upper hand over the panda bear. So he's kind of fighting him, he's punching him, he's kind of about to lay into a strike. Buffa's like, "Dude, are you crazy? Like, fighting him lowers your points." And Geats shows off the phone. He's like, "My points didn't go down. Look, the panda got bit." So we find out then he kind of is becoming a zombie. But I think the fact that Buffa is worried about it maybe tells me that like it's gonna lower the points, or maybe he doesn't know at that point that like the panda started the fight. I don't know. So,
And I will give them credit. I'll call it the zombie tech, like the CGI, whatever you want to call it, they put onto the zombie hand blood pulsing thing actually looked pretty decent. Like all things considered, it looked better than I would have expected it to look like.
yeah, I think this was an episode where the effects were generally very good. Like, coming off of last episode where we got so much of the platform of just the terrible looking CG and like no one at the right angle and stuff. Like, for the most part, there was some really cool stuff in this episode. Like everything revolving around the chainsword and like the zombie headstones. Even the water effect was pretty cool. Yeah, like the zombie purple coursing through your veins that we get to see a little bit of. It looks awesome. So yeah, it feels like they've really stepped up their kind of effects game starting here. So I hope we don't go back to like the horribleness.
Back to the old way.
Because yeah, I was really worried that it was going to look terrible kind of for an entire season, for an entire year, but it's seeming pretty good now. I'm okay with where it's at. Obviously, a Hollywood blockbuster would maybe look a little bit better, but like for a weekly TV show, I'm like more than happy with like the crazy flashy stuff we've been seeing this episode.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten better, like you said.
But yeah, our panda, he got bit. He got bit, Toby. He's becoming a zombie.
It's not good. In a game where if you lose your life, you lose the game, and you lose your life. This is a bad twist.
My favorite thing though, so we find out the panda got bit. It must have happened a little bit ago. Like the zombies weren't attacking him, like kind of all while he was fighting Geats and stuff. Then we of course we get the dramatic flashback to his life. Why is this panda bear the way that he is?
Who broke this poor boy's soul?
So tell the people what happened in this kid's life. What went wrong for this boy?
It seems like almost nothing.
Yep.
It was just like Neon is remotely famous, so that was enough for him to be like, I fucking hate all of this. I hate her. I'm going to shoot her and make her into a zombie and backstab her. And
oh, you're forgetting about the key piece of his villain origin story, which is he likes basketball and then hurt his leg where he couldn't play basketball.
Oh, that's right. So like I had that as a separate thing. So basically, like he's outside dribbling, and it's implied he gets hit by a car.
Yeah, he gets hit by
So
like some kind of big car. Yeah.
so sure that sucks, but the worst that happened to him was he broke his foot.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the grand scheme of things, like that rehab time's probably not horrible. Plus the fact that like you got hit by a car, the only thing that happened is you just broke your foot.
Yeah.
Like nothing bad came out of this. Like you're not dead.
Because he gets hit by like it's like a van, like it's a big van, and like you get to see all his belongings like go everywhere. Like he gets hit hard, and yeah, like he escaped from getting hit by a van by just like a tiny foot fracture. Like calm down, dude. So yeah, he can't play basketball. He's distraught.
Yeah, so like so that leads into or it gets close to where it leads into what his wish is.
Yeah,
And he gets so mad that he wishes for a world where humanity goes extinct.
he has a broken foot. Cut to I want everyone to die.
And so not only that is like the most ridiculous fucking thing ever to me, but Neon even goes to him like, "Why not wish you could play basketball again?" And he's like, "No."
I think he says, well, one, like I love Neon to death. I love that's you could have just wished for basketball. But I adore that she's like, you could have just wished to play basketball again, and he goes, no, I don't care about that anymore. It's like, it seems like you care a lot about this.
So my other big question tied to that then though. So if you wish for a world with no humanity, wouldn't he wish himself out of the world?
Yeah.
Or does he not care?
I also went down a spiral of this too, of like, okay, so if humanity becomes extinct, one, he's dead. I think he's probably into that though. I think maybe the suicide aspect of it maybe is what he's going for. But two, does that mean that like the Grand Prix is over too? Like, does that mean that like we're not going to cycle around? We're not going to have a second round where someone can make a new world later? Like, the Giamato just win? Like, I don't know what the implications there are. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of levels that go into that then.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go that far down. I was just like, oh, he wishes everyone dead. Cool. Hell of a
Including
wish, man.
himself. I mean, clearly he's not fighting to stay alive. He's getting bit by zombies out here like an idiot. But the great thing, so we find out his like dramatic backstory, and then wave 2 ends, and we're back to short break, and Zombie Boy's just like hanging out in the lounge. Like,
You're like, why would you let him in there?
I don't know, but we find out, and my heart broke a little bit. Neon's sitting, she's having an iced coffee, she's living her life. She falls over. She got bit too. Neon got bitten at some point, and she's also becoming a zombie. And the
She
other
got
zombie
bit.
boy's still there.
Yeah, like and when they show the flashbacks to their bitings, we'll call it.
Yeah.
It seems like it would have been obvious. Like obviously they just didn't show us to not show us because the way it happened was painfully obvious for both of them.
Yeah, the Giamato, when they bite them, like it's like they unhinge their jaw, like the whole top of their head kind of like goes back a little bit, and yeah, it feels like Neon should have told somebody that she got bitten. Like, I get the panda bears like trying to deceive people and was deciding he was gonna kill Neon, but like I feel like Neon should have been like, guys, a bad thing just happened.
Hey
over
friends,
here.
my arm hurts. This is why.
Yeah. So I'm a little confused on like the time frame on which they become zombies, because clearly the panda isn't a zombie yet. He got bit a long time ago. He's hanging out in the lounge. Like, do they get to be Kamen Riders through this whole next round that starts next episode? It doesn't really make a ton of
So
sense.
I can't tell if it's like if you survive all this game, it heals, or if it's something
Oh.
like it's permanent, or God only knows.
Yeah, I hope this ends with everyone getting chain swords. That's my main hope. But we end kind of in a dramatic ending there. The episode's over. We're heading into round 3, I think, for next episode. We get a kind of a dramatic walk out of the room from Buffa. So maybe he's going to consult with Panda again in their little hallway that they hang out in. But yeah, we're kind of left on a cliffhanger there for the episode. I wasn't really expecting that and wasn't keeping track of time on the episode, and I was a little shocked that we didn't get sort of the third round of this game.
Yeah, it was one of those, like you said, one of those weird things where it's hard to judge. Like, hey, it's actually going to stop now. This is interesting.
Yeah. Geets again, you know, tries to be Neon's friend here. So like she gets zombie bit. She's all upset about it, like, oh gosh, I'm gonna turn. And he says the game's not over yet. So yeah, that does kind of insinuate, like you're saying, like maybe if the game ends and you survive, you can get cured, or there's Geets seems to maybe insinuate there's some way to prevent this from happening. Or maybe he's just really into zombie chicks. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be his thing. We all have.
Could be.
She wants her knight on a white horse. He wants this girl to be a zombie.
And I want my angel with a shotgun.
The best song.
And that, yeah, that's the end of episode 3. I thought this episode was a banger. Like I really liked this one. I think this is maybe my favorite of the 3 so far.
Well, yeah, like now that everything actually like started.
Yep.
Like I always do poorly with slow builds, like I said, and now that like the show is like going now, the game's going now. It's definitely way more solid than it was in the first episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I love we're talking about it as it was happening. I love that we're like fleshing out characters now. Like you're understanding a little bit more about Geets. Like still not really. There's obviously lots of question marks, right? Like who's he talking about at the beginning of the episode? What are his motivations? But like you're understanding sort of like what he would do in different situations and stuff like that. Kaywa's, you know, a little bit more dimensional than he was before. Neon, especially, you know, you get a bit more about her. She's really fun. So yeah, I like that. I'm learning the characters. They're becoming friends instead of just a sea of random people that I don't know that's in the beginning.
They're becoming whole people now.
They certainly are. What are your biggest questions after this episode?
I think the main one I think like the biggest main one is just how does the zombie thing play out at this point?
Yeah.
Because obviously there's, like we said, there's a lot of questions of if it's short term, if it's long term, if you have to like craft a potion halfway down the road to save the things. And obviously I don't think Krabby Pants with his wish for where humanity goes extinct is going to win. So I feel like he's kind of written himself out of the position of I'm going to win this game. To be honest.
I think he's written himself into I get killed next episode. I think that's pretty, you know, I guess narratively it seems like that makes sense. You infect 2 people with the zombie-itis, so that way you can show one of them turning and then you can save the other one, right? Like yeah. So yeah, I think just looking ahead and thinking through how I would write the story, I think that Panda Bear Boy has definitely painted himself into a corner here. So yeah, we maybe not be seeing too much of him after this, but it'll be interesting to see how they handle that too. Because I think he's in the intro.
Hey, they can always redo the intro.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they can totally drop characters and stuff out of that. But yeah, it's a series where like you don't really know. Like obviously Tewa was one of the guys at the beginning, and he's gone now. So like you don't know. People die. Are we gonna see him again later? Like who knows? Like you know, there's been a lot of talk about wishing people back to life and stuff. So
yeah, like if we get the good wishes, will he return?
Yeah, it'll be fun to see if, you know, they get to like reignite grudges after people die and stuff like that.
Keep the dream alive.
Exactly. I think biggest question mark for me though is still we didn't see any of it this episode, but I'm still really curious about like kind of the masked guy and what his whole deal is.
Yeah, what he's doing back there.
Yeah, they definitely have backburnered that guy. Like we didn't get any of him this episode. I'll be interested to see if next episode we get any glimpses of him. I feel like they drop a little hint about like the larger narrative every episode. And I think this episode, it was mainly like Ace yelling about "I'll find you" at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, that stuff is really piquing my interest, I guess, as well. All right. Any other closing thoughts? Anything else you want to say about Kamen Rider Geats?
No, I think we did another fantastic summary today.
Yeah,
that's my closing thought.
Very humble of you, Toby. Yeah. I
agree. Some would say it's time for the highlight, and that was today.
And on that low light, we will close this episode. Thanks again for joining us, for listening through our review of Kamen Rider Geats episode 3. As always, you can listen to the show in its podcast form anywhere you download your podcasts. That's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Spotify, Anchor, all the places it should be. We also have a video version. Again, just search for The Comment Writers. You will find it. And also, you can follow Toby and I on Twitter. Toby, where can the people find you?
On Twitter, it's at Life of Tobes, Tobes.
You can follow me. I am at Pretty Deece Josh. That's PrettyDecejosh. So once again, thanks for joining us here for episode 3 of Kamen Rider Geats. We will be back once again for episode 4. And of course, the game is not over yet. Later. It's better than yours.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too